Hey y'all, I hope you're well. Welcome to another episode of Healthcare Boulevard. This is a podcast where we shine more light on healthcare, and our goal here is to provide more options to people looking to choose healthcare as a career path, regardless of their background. My name is Sena Kakpomo, and I am your host and creator here. I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your support. Remember, you can tune in on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. All right, hello y'all. Welcome to Healthcare Boulevard, and I have another interview for you today that I'm excited to get into. Today we are starting our walk through the pharmacy street with Meg with me, and I call her Meg because she's a friend of mine. She's going to give us a little bit of a view into pharmacy, what her journey has been like, and hopefully my listeners here can learn a little bit from that and be inspired by her journey and just pharmacy in general. All right, Meg, take it away. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Magdalawi Irafu, and I am a third-year pharmacy student at the University of Maryland, Baltimore, in Baltimore, Maryland.
All right, thank you for that. And so you're in third year. How much more do you have left to go?
Thankfully, one more year.
Okay.
The pharmacy program is a 4-year doctorate program, and so I am almost done.
Okay, yay! Very close.
Yes.
So close. We're excited for that. So Meg and I knew each other from before we even that program was the first like intro to college we did,
Yeah.
right? Right after high school. And so we've known each other, essentially been following each other's journey professionally and personally. So what's been your journey to here in terms of getting here, your professional and academic journey?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, you and I have known each other since like 2012,
Right.
which is amazing, right? Like time flies and now we're here. And so my journey started in terms of like my healthcare like journey started back in high school, in which I was part of like a medical careers program. And this program was part of a cohort of students that wanted to pursue a career in healthcare, and so we had guidance into like how you would apply to a certain profession. We even got to gain our certified nursing assistant, so we got hands-on like clinical experience in a nursing home firsthand. And so that was an early experience, just having a mentor in the teachers that were around us to kind of guide us, to show us what a profession in healthcare would look like. So afterwards, you and I met through a biomedical scholars program at Montgomery College. And that was great because it was just, we got an intro to higher education, and just having that like protected time where we got to kind of plan out what our future beyond after like Montgomery College would look like was very helpful. And so I transferred to UMBC after my first year at Montgomery College. And then I majored in biology. And so I was able to meet all the prereqs during my time at UMBC. And what I noticed at my time at UMBC is I really enjoyed organic chemistry. I know a lot of people would say otherwise. That class is usually like a nightmare for a lot of people.
Yes.
But for an odd reason, I liked how just these molecules like basically were the footprint to a lot of like the medicine that we were exposed to or were out there. And so that made me realize maybe like I always knew I wanted to do healthcare, but maybe integrating some sort of chemistry in there would be nice also. And so that led me to think about pharmacy as a career choice. And so I took some time while at UMBC to work at a pharmacy. And so I got some time to work behind the counter and see what a pharmacist did. And so I took a gap year just to explore more about what pharmacy actually is. And so I kept working for a year after graduation and then applied to the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy, where I am at now.
Okay. And how was the application process to pharmacy school?
Yeah, so for pharmacy school, what you first have to do is you have to complete what are called prerequisites. So you have to take courses that the school would want you to complete or have a background in before joining pharmacy school. So that involves like organic chemistry, biology, and there's a whole list of courses.
Right.
In addition, you have to basically take what is called PCAT, and that is a entrance exam that pharmacy schools require, and that tests your like quantitative reasoning, chemical processes, like biological process, and critical thinking. And so that's like an exam that compares your score to how people perform nationwide. And in addition to that, you just need to fill out an application, which is a central system, and also get a letter of recommendation.
Okay. And from my understanding, and please correct me, because I haven't done the deep research into pharmacy, and that's why I also enjoy that you're here. A lot of pharmacy schools do require a bachelor's degree, but not all. Is that correct, or is that totally changing to it for everybody asking for a bachelor's degree?
Yeah, so from what I also understand is you don't need a bachelor's degree to apply for pharmacy school.
Right.
There could be some schools that might make it a mandatory requirement, but like the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy did not require like a bachelor's degree. So you could complete your prerequisites and directly apply. But if you want to be a competitive applicant and you're looking to kind of expand what you are able to do, even like if you want to complete a master's while you're completing your PharmD, you would need like a bachelor's degree. So there is some limiting opportunities if you don't have your bachelor's degree. So that's something to think about if you are trying to broaden your horizon.
Okay. And so you just mentioned getting a master's degree while you're in pharmacy school. Is that a common thing for folks in pharmacy school?
Not really. I believe now so. It is becoming more common as people are trying to just be more competitive for residencies and fellowships after graduation. I know our school, the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy, we do have several dual degrees that someone can complete while they're also finishing their PharmD. Like they have, you can get a master's in like regulatory science, pharmacokinetics. You can get your MBA or your PhD. You can get your JD. And so different schools offer different dual degrees. So if someone is interested in completing, more than just their PharmD, they can look at schools that offer opportunities like this.
Okay, I see. Are you doing anything like that, or are you shooting for pharmacy alone?
For me, I'm just focused on my PharmD, just because I currently have, like, at least when I started out, I wasn't sure what an additional like degree would do for me in terms of career planning. But yeah, just doing my PharmD now.
Right. Okay. And those are all things you can do anyway after school, after pharmacy school, if you so choose. You're going down a path that you want an added master's degree in something just to essentially strengthen your skills in that field, right?
Right. And I guess the benefit of doing the dual degree is sometimes, like if you're doing like your JD or PhD, you're not going to graduate in 4 years.
Right.
But some of the electives that you end up, like some of the courses that you end up taking for that additional degree can count as an elective for your PharmD. So you could complete those like both degrees in a shorter amount of time and probably pay less if you had done them together than versus doing them separately. So that's one benefit.
Okay, I see. That makes sense. And my next question to you is, what did you get your bachelor's degree in? And was that specific in terms of, did you choose that knowing you're going to pharmacy school? Was that purposeful? And does it relate to your education now that you're receiving in pharmacy school at all?
Yeah, so interestingly, when I started at UMBC, I was a biochemistry major. And early on, I wasn't sure if I was going to do pharmacy, but mid through, I realized, oh, okay, maybe I am going to try to do the pharmacy route. And I noticed that the biology degree had more of the prerequisite courses embedded in it than the biochemistry degree. So I ended up switching to a biology degree. So I got my undergrad degree in biology, and then I minored in sociology.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a pretty cool combination.
Yeah, right? It's like two different, like opposite directions.
Right. Yeah. How was the application process to pharmacy school? Was it, how stressful was it actually?
Oh yeah, it was stressful. Just because there's like a level of uncertainty whenever you're applying for things. And so yeah, I think my goal was just to be as competitive as I could be, as well as understanding what I was getting myself into. And actually having exposure in real life, practice, like talking to pharmacists that were already practicing, gave me a more realistic idea of what the profession would look like, versus when you just read the description and you look at like the salary and that is all you have to go off of. So so I think we had, while I was at UMBC, I was part of like the pre-pharmacy program. And so getting to talk to students was very beneficial in understanding the application process. So that was very useful in understanding what the school was looking for, what I needed to do to make myself as competitive as possible. So and so as I alluded to earlier, you just need like your prerequisites. You need a letter of intent, a recommendation, and your PCAT score.
Okay. Well, and how many schools did you apply to? Because I know sometimes in healthcare we can apply to like tons of schools, just try to increase our chances.
Yeah. For me, usually like when people apply, there's certain lists that they make in terms of like, oh, I'm willing to travel, or cost is a big thing. I only applied to 2 schools. I applied to the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy, and then I applied to Howard.
Okay.
And I told myself, I was like, if I'm not going to get into University of Maryland, I'm probably not going to go to pharmacy school. I might reevaluate what I wanted to do, partly because of cost, of attendance. But I knew that the University of Maryland was a school that had a lot of networks. And if you went there, you had a lot of opportunities to do research, as well as being embedded in a like interdisciplinary campus. Having connections to different schools would have been beneficial. So I really wanted to go to the Baltimore school. So yes.
Okay, how is your school financially? Like, did you get a scholarship? Is that a common thing if you're not comfortable disclosing how you personally are paying for school? But is that a common thing in pharmacy school? Just in general, how you will pay for pharmacy school, because that's the cost is another important thing.
Yeah, I mean, grad school is expensive.
Right.
Very expensive. And it's supposed to be an investment to your future, right? But part of like going to a state school is you do get a discount, right? Because if you're a resident of a state, through like taxpayer subsidies, your tuition is lower. So there are even like scholarships that come with that too. But most of the financing comes from like federal loans, or working. Like I work as a research assistant now, and so that has been helpful in just offsetting some of the cost, like daily living cost. But yeah, in financing, I think it's expensive, and just knowing what are ways that I could like find a like federal loans tend to be lower in terms of their interest rates.
Right.
So living in Baltimore, the cost of living is not that high compared to other cities, so that was very helpful also.
Okay. And what is it like working in pharmacy school and going to school at the same time? How is the balancing of school life, work, all of it?
Yeah, that is tough. It's like, a juggling act, and it can get, I'll be honest and say that like it could get overwhelming at times. But I think you have to ask yourself, like, beyond just like, getting paid for working, what are you getting out of, like, this is your protected time, right, as a student, to figure out, to network, to figure out what you want to do. And just that supplemental income is good, but that's not really like the purpose of your protected time. So I think for me, that was the biggest reason to working, is like, how is this going to help me build certain skills? How is this opportunity going to allow me to get, closer to a mentor that I would like have in the future? So that was my biggest factors. And yeah, it was stressful. I mean, especially when you have like exams piled up, you just have to be very efficient in how you complete like your assignments and your study time, and then also be very realistic with your boss and tell them, like, you're a student first. So if you have that, that understanding between your boss and yourself, then from the beginning it could be easier to have a very like cordial relationship between them, like them understanding when you have exams you might not be able to work.
That's definitely, so that definitely will help in terms of having a position like you have, where it's a working position in academics, so they're more used to working with students versus having a position outside of the academic network where they might not be patient.
That's very true. Yeah.
Schedule, right.
Yeah, I think if someone decides to have a job while they're in school, it's so critical to have a very flexible boss. Some are not, and that could be very difficult. And you don't want to jeopardize your education.
Exactly, because otherwise then you're essentially jeopardizing your long-term goal for your short-term
like financial
responsibilities and financial states. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. How is, I assume with before COVID and everything, you were taking classes and taking tests like most of us in healthcare studies.
Yeah.
How is that with COVID?
Oh man, COVID was like, it was like a shock, like a very unexpected thing. I tell people now that like when I'm planning out my life, I have a plan A, a plan B, and then a plan C for pandemic reasons. Like if a pandemic happens in the future. But it's like, no one expected this. You just watched it. Right. Oh, okay. Like, yeah, it might not happen.
I guess that's what we're doing now.
Okay. Now it's a reality. But in terms of like school, I mean, our school instantly went virtual. And so the nice thing is, before COVID, we had like pre-recorded lectures. Even though you could come to class to participate live, you could also watch it recorded. Okay. So we had the platform already.
Okay, so that was a nice transition.
Yeah, which was nice. And then we also had like we take our exams with our laptops. And so the school just had to get like a proctoring like software for us. And so it was nice. I think it was tougher as a first year student if you didn't already have the networks and your friends.
Right.
But I think for me it was okay because I had a group of friends that I could ask questions, or like we can discuss certain like classwork together. So that made it easier.
Yeah. I remember feeling so bad for the cohort that came after me when I was graduating, because we, like you said, I had my network of students and friends that from the class that I was, essentially talking to and helping with classwork. But with them, I'm like, hey, studying PA school or a pharmacy school or whatever, all online is like,
It's hard, yeah. It's hard, especially if you have not built those like connections with your classmates.
Yeah, and they're much harder to do online when you're everybody's just a random person who's about to go through this tough journey with you, essentially at the beginning.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. And where do you see yourself working after school? After you're done with school, do you have any specialization in mind? And we did talk about give us a view into different opportunities once you're done with pharmacy school. What settings can you work in as a pharmacist?
Yeah. So just as a quick background, a pharmacist is someone that is trained in understanding medication.
Yes.
And so we study a lot of like the pharmacokinetics, the pharmacogenetics, like how do drugs get through the body, like where do they work? And so that's where our expertise is at. And so after finishing training, there are various paths that we can take. A lot of people opt to do a clinical residency. And so that residency could be in various settings. Usually there's 2 years training. The first year is called a PGY1, just general pharmacy. And so those pharmacists right out of graduation will get to rotate around the hospital, try different specialties. And so and during that time they do like research. They have a mentor or preceptor that is like the person that is responsible for teaching them. And so after the first year, if there's one specialty that they really want to do, they can apply for a PGY2 residency. And then that is when they become a specialist. And so they can do like cardiology, they can do oncology, there's a wide range of specialties. And so those folks are clinical based. And so they are there during rounds when physicians and nurses and everyone is coming around to talk about the plan for a patient. And the role of the pharmacist would be to answer any medication related questions, recommend any therapy that they think is appropriate for a patient, and address any like medication related issues. Another path is you can do a fellowship, and this could be in the pharmaceutical industry. So a fellowship would allow you to get skills on just like drug information. So if, for example, if an adverse reaction happens with a drug, you can call the manufacturer and talk to someone. And sometimes it's a pharmacist on the other end of the line taking that information in. And there's different paths in industry, in like pharmaceutical industry, that pharmacists can be embedded in. Other paths include working for the FDA. You can be part of a group that is in charge of reviewing applications for drugs that are entering or trying to enter the market. You can be part of a team that is called pharmacovigilance, and their job is to keep an eye out for any like adverse events that happen with drugs that are already out in the market. And so there's a lot of paths, and or you can do, I think a lot of people, their experience with a pharmacist is at a retail setting. And that's community-based pharmacists that dispense your medication. And so there's a ton of places to go. For me specifically, I'm actually interested in more systems designs. Pharmacy is changing in a way, like healthcare is changing a lot, but I am interested in kind of doing care transition and how to like design the community pharmacist to provide services beyond just dispensing medication. So that's, I guess that would be more of like a managed care pharmacy.
Okay. So what setting would you be working in with that?
With that, you can work for like health plans. Health plans are like, like insurance companies.
Okay, that's what I thought.
You
Okay.
can work with professional organizations.
Mm-hmm.
In Maryland, we have what are called care transition organizations,
Okay.
which are kind of designed to find innovative ways to provide care that focuses on like outcomes, like
Mm-hmm.
better outcomes. I don't know if you've heard of like fee for service versus like value based care,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
fee for
Yeah.
service is like a healthcare delivery where like a healthcare provider just provides service and someone pays for it, either like a health plan or the patient, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in a more like value-based care, it's a new model that CMS, like the Center of Medicare, is experimenting with, where healthcare providers are going to be compensated based on how well their patient does.
Mm-hmm.
So if a patient has hypertension that is uncontrolled, and let's say they're not in optimized like medication therapy, they can get dinged for that. So they like CMS will not pay them, that means. And so there's a lot of incentives out there now that are coming out to kind of allow more value-based like payments. And so I'm trying to figure out how pharmacists can help their colleagues achieve some of those goals.
Okay. Well,
Without
that's exciting.
Yeah, it's a little different,
Right.
but I'm excited to kind of see where it goes.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. That's exciting. Well, we'll all be here to see how we like it. How about it? Maybe we'll have another conversation. Remember that interview? We talked about this.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, look at us now, 30 years from now.
Right, right. Well, we'll be here to see it all. So that's exciting. Especially as new grads, it's like being a child in the world. It's like, oh, so
Right.
much to do. Not
Right.
know what to start.
That is very true. Yeah.
Do you have any, as we get closer to the end, do you have any words of aspiration to any aspiring pharmacist or anyone who perhaps is in pharmacy school and having a hard time? Um, yeah, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I think sometimes deciding on what you want to do, it's a big decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are investing your time, you're investing uh, your money
Mm-hmm.
in something to hopefully pay off later on. And I think, especially when picking a profession, it is important to look beyond what you read, like as the description of a profession,
Mm-hmm.
or reading about like the salary. It's important to go out and meet those people that are in those positions that are practicing already, and get an idea of what do they enjoy about their profession. But
Mm-hmm.
more importantly, what are the challenges that are there? And ask yourself, am I willing to put up with some of the challenges? Or
Mm-hmm.
how can I improve this profession?
Mm-hmm.
To like, for example, in healthcare, it's like how can I improve it so it is better able to serve patients? Because every profession has its ups and downs. But I think sometimes you just look at the ups and that gives you a false sense of the profession.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, go out there and meet the people that are in the position you want to be and talk to them and ask them difficult questions to
Mm-hmm.
get a very like real insight into a realistic insight into what that profession looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And so
No,
that's my 2 cents.
no, that's that's more than 2 cents. No, I really appreciate that because you're right. We oftentimes it's easier because we are in the information age now where it's like everything is online if you dig deep enough, and it can be easy to think you have a full idea of what something is just reading about it or just hearing about the positive stuff for people who love it. If you don't necessarily, like you said, everything has a downside. There's an up and downside to every career path.
Right.
in every field. So you got to be willing to and ready to deal with the downside and perhaps improve it, preferably. And then, then you're good to go.
Right. Right. Like
Yeah.
you have a realistic idea of what you are going to invest your time in. So I think that's a very important. And I think, your podcast, like having something like this where, you bring guests that are practicing and asking them like their own experiences is very beneficial.
Yeah, thank you for that. That is our sole goal here, and I do appreciate you and everybody who's joined me thus far, because I wouldn't be able to do what I set out to do without you guys. It really is the community of healthcare professionals willing and ready to take their time to sort of help the next generation that can help us increase and get better as we continue in healthcare, especially as new grads. I'm very excited too. Like, because I feel like we were so excited back at MCA. Like, in fact, I know it because about where we'll all end up and out the different career paths, because we were so unsure at the time, fresh off high school. I'm just as excited now to see us, those of us out of school or about to finish or just started or what have you in different healthcare settings, and to see where we go from here in practicing and how we interact with each other. I'm excited to have a pharmacist in my corner, I'll tell you that much.
I'm excited to have a PA. Yeah.
I was literally telling my husband last time, I was like, look, there's one thing that is across healthcare in general, is a lot of healthcare folks in school, from PA to nurses and even MD, are not a big fan of pharmacy. When it comes to the pharmacy class, that's like one of our tough pills to swallow. No pun intended.
I see what you did there. Yeah.
And I was like,
you guys are like learning what we're learning in like 4 years into like one semester or 1 year. So it's a lot of information.
It is. And we're just like, please, somebody tell me about how to diagnose and treat, and like do physical exam, because, all these pharmacokinetics and all this other thing. I'm just like,
Yeah.
My brain. And that's why I didn't go to pharmacy school.
Yeah, my sister says this. She's in dental school, and she's like, Meg, I don't know how you do pharmacy, because I did 1 semester and I was dead. Like, it's just too much things to memorize.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you will be getting that from a lot of your friends and family who are in healthcare but not pharmacists, and you just be like, I'm here for you.
Yeah. And that's why we're here. That's why we go through it. And
exactly.
An ally to you.
Trust me, we appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you. It's good to hear. Good to hear while we take the exams. That's
exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much, Meg. I really appreciate chatting with you and you joining me here. I know you're a busy woman. We already get a sense of that just hearing what you're doing. And I'm very excited, if I hadn't said it already, to, celebrate your graduation and see what you add to the pharmacy field and healthcare as in general. Hopefully when COVID is done, we can hang out again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm gonna go to California and see you.
Please come. We go to the beach and enjoy the sunshine and eat some tacos.
Sunshine is much needed after this past year, for sure.
Oh yes, I can imagine.
Yeah.
All right, girl. You have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You do the same.
Thank you so much. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thank you again for joining me. I appreciate you. Please subscribe, follow, like, comment, and share. And stay blessed. Bye.